Okay, 1879, good luck. So we've not played before, no head-to-head score. Opponent 326 games of rapid, so enough to establish your baseline rating. C4, D4, let's go D4. We could still match what my opponent has done this side. Actually, I'm going to do that. Quite a flexible setup you can go with. So I'm just deciding on where exactly I want to put this bishop. Now, do we go a little bit bold with E4 here? Oh, that gives us a target. I'm actually considering literally chucking everything up the board. I'm going to go E4 and just try and gain that bit of space, develop my pieces. The rook across, so we still got flexibility here. This bishop's got an option where to go. I would say we could still consider this way as well. Okay, comes forward, so D5 would seem quite logical to try and restrict this bishop. We've still got B3 we could play. Here, if knight comes down, I think we just take. I can't really leave it there, so I'm going to play the pawn forward. We can still potentially push if our opponent doesn't jump in. But of course, if you do right now with a knight, we could take. So it's whether we do this and allow some sort of potential discovery. So up, takes, takes, knight takes. It's probably no good for us. Probably not. I'm actually going to just develop the bishop again. Preparing the idea of the push. And again, it's whether my opponent pushes on here. Takes, takes, takes. Very aggressive setup for black. Otherwise, it could be just a holding move this. We'll have to just shift it at some point. So where do we go now? I'm just going to step forward, I think, and see if we encourage a pawn push and then come all the way back somewhere. Okay, knight down might be obviously a move now. Okay, it does go there, so bishop back to one of these, I would guess. I think I'm going to go here. It does restrict the rook, but the pawn's guarded just means there's less chance of actually pushing on. If I go here, I could maybe devote the bishop to the diagonal, actually, couldn't I? What's wrong with that? Yeah, let's come all the way back, actually. Why not? I mean, there is a target here if the knight comes in, but I think I'd just take the knight. Maybe we can move our c3 knight and put the bishop there to challenge the diagonal. We still got scope to come behind. Oh, he goes really bold. Okay. Okay. Now, if I take, you're going to go with the rook, I would assume. But does that just simply blunder a piece if you do that? And if you go with a pawn, that feels like it should be quite good for me. The knight would be undermined. Knight across would be a move. Actually, that might be a mistake what my opponent has done there. It could be. It's very aggressive, isn't it? Can I risk playing g4 and just blow the defenses wide open? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it. Could be a mistake, but that's the risk and reward of chess. I'm going to try and win a piece. It might be at the expense of my king's defenses, but it's the same for both of us. But it's very committal. There's no reverse gear on the pawn, of course, so now I've gone forward. There's no coming back. But you either take the knight with the rook, or you drop the rook back, I would guess. You can't really leave it on that far, on the 5th rank. Yeah, so he does take. No, I assume I want to take with a bishop just because the knight can come in. But if the knight does come in, I think I can just take here. And obviously I'm threatening the knight here. So if you come in here, I think I just capture the knight and allow the takes. Where if the queen was there, it would be a direct hit on the queen. Probably going to end up dropping back. Knight here, maybe we can just push the pawn and maybe we can just try and keep it with h3. Maybe we'd even have a move like rook forward. Yeah, the knight's gone back. I assume I want to move like h3 to try and just keep this and wait for the pawn push to eventually come. If I push on right now, that feels a little bit bold to me. But your knight can't go back, you just take it. So here, the knight's got, what, two places to go back to. Or you can take, but then my king's a lot more open. Yeah, I'm just going to play h3 so I don't burn all my clock. I'm a little bit down on time. But my idea is to prepare for the bishop retreating. Hopefully support this pawn at some point for this sort of idea. To get the rook off that diagonal. But right now the queen could go there. I guess the king can step up. The queen can go either of these, of course, to create two natural threats. Rook in is a very natural move, so I assume I want my bishop back now. Yeah, I'm going to get the bishop out of the way there just because there's still potential to build up here. We might even prepare the idea of a pawn push. It might be nothing, but queen up, and rook behind somewhere could be a general concept as well. So this pawn, I know it's a natural target. There's scope to guard it, but the knight then gets weak. So risk and reward. Rook forward here could become a target for the bishop at some point. Just get the cursor off the board so there's no accidental mouse slips there. Yeah, queen's come forward, so the idea is this and to pile the pressure on. Now, it would be nice to pop a bishop here, but that's not going to happen soon. But queen up, and I could do that, couldn't I? So queen up is an immediate one-move threat if you go here. We're up a piece for pawn, so it makes a great deal of sense to get the queen off the board. I don't see an obvious way to stop it, actually. You might have to go defensive with knight back, but then we're threatening to take the pawn as well. I'm going to do that. The threat is to go here, but we're also threatening to capture a pawn. But if I could trade the queens, that would be very good. Now, do I go here then? That's guarded. F4 is very committal, but I don't see what black does other than going back. Take, I just take, right? So that's what I'm looking at. Take, take, take. I don't think it's anything. I'm going to commit to going forward just to try and get the queen off the board. That's the objective, to try and get the queen off. I could try and be greedy and grab a pawn and think, well, I'm getting the queen off as well because the queen can't escape, so takes pawn might be an idea if you go back. Let's just see. Okay, chooses to grab a pawn. So is that just another free piece here? Bishop down, I just take. 3 pieces would guard this. I think it's just a piece. I don't see what I'm missing, so I'm going to take. If I'm missing something, I'm missing it. Often happens in chess that your opponent comes up with an idea that you don't see, but if you don't see it, you don't see it. So the rook's gone across. So I would like to come back here, but then 3 attack the pawn and only 2 defend it. So I could spend a move going here to really guard this. Right now the bishop does guard though. Is knight up a move? I don't quite like that. Here. I like the idea rook across, rook across. There is a potential scope for this, but you need a lot of moves. So I'm going to play rook across. If I give up an exchange, it doesn't really matter. I'm up 2 pieces, so losing a bishop for a rook for a bishop or something like that would be fine. I just want to get the other rook across and try and get them both on these files, and then eventually get the queen back to pressure the pawn. Here now could be a move. could be a perfectly good move. Lose a pawn to gain a pawn and try and break through, but then some pieces are definitely coming off. But in principle, rook across is my next sort of principled idea that I want. Yeah, it strikes forward. No, I assume I don't want to allow this, so I assume I want to push on now. So if I push forward and you come here to deflect the queen, say we come back, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes. We've just got a lot of material off the board, and that should be good for us. Yeah, I'm going to push on there. I can't allow takes ideas, so I'm just going to have to push on. So I think that's a move for black. I mean, if you have to drop the knight back, then it's kind of freeing up my queen, because then 2 would still guard my pawn whilst only 2 attack it. So I'd then be threatening queen back to come in again. And of course, the rook move that I want to play. Let's just leave the cursor off the board so there's no slips. Right, the knight's gone back and is really going nowhere. I don't think you can just sack there, because everything is well guarded here. Everything's well guarded, so I'm looking again at this idea, simply queen back now to come in and pin the queen. That looks very strong to me. It looks winning to me. I could spend a move on this, but it could be useful being here later in the game. So I'm just going to do it and prepare this idea. Get the queen off the board. It removes a lot of risk. We're up a lot of material. Okay, throws in a check. So I could just simply block here now. I've still got 2 defending the pawn whilst 2 attack it. Bishop here, you can't really afford to trade. So it looks very sensible to me. So I'm going to do that. Threatening to just trade the bishop and then rook e1 if the bishop retreats or takes. Okay, but I'm very happy if you trade. Gets rid of another piece. And then I can just develop the rook. Okay, he has taken. So any tricks for me? I don't see them. So I'm just going to take. So I'm looking at just the simple rook across. Natural development, I see no reason not to. Gives my queen the option. A lot of flexibility. Option to go to d3 as well as f3. Excuse me. One of the rooks can still shuffle across the target getting forward. Okay, the pawn is a little bit loose now. So I could be sensible, go here to guard and threaten the check to get the queen off. That looks logical. It also helps to guard here. So what are we? We're up a rook. Queen, 2 rooks and a bishop. Queen, 1 rook and a knight. But we're down 2 pawns. 7 versus 5. So a rook for a few pawns. So that's pretty good. But that's the threat on the board now, is check, force the queen off. Oh, now we can do it. So we've got the queen move here. The queen is then pinned, has to come off. That really should be winning for us, so I'm not going to waste my time thinking too much there. So I just have to be sensible now, avoid sloppy blunders. But black still has a lot of pawns. Rook across to target this pawn, otherwise I might have to try and sack a pawn along the a file. Maybe h4 now to play a move like f5. Let's just see what black does. Actually, f5 as my next move looks quite strong. Right, the rook's come forward, so I'm leaning towards f5 now. The idea is probably to try and release the knight, but I think it's a bit slow here. Knight back. If we take, then it's very difficult to not trade the rook. So I like the look of f5, and if you do take, I just simply take back. Or I could even push on again, couldn't I? If you take with a pawn, I can hit two pieces again. Maybe you've got rook across this time. Yeah, I like f5. I'm going to play f5, probably take this way. Let's take back. Yeah, pawn up there, you had rook across. But I've still got a move like h4 or shuffle. Right, it's gone there, so h4 looks very sensible here. Check is covered, so there's no check there. So let's just play h4 to solidify. Knight can't go back now, we just take. So the rook's come forward. So can I just play a move like rook here now? The rook can come here. So still going to pay a little bit of attention here. How do we do this? How do we actually break through? Them pawns are difficult to break through. I'm not sure I can actually stop this. But we've got time, plenty of time. I'm looking at this sort of concept. That's the idea I'm looking at. Let's just play rook up for now so we don't burn all our clock, and we can bring the king behind the rook. So let's go here, make sure we guard, don't easily let him in. But now we could check. Forward. I wonder if I can even just sack there, I'm not sure. Here. Takes, don't like that. I'm going to go up and try and fix these pawns. So the rook's come forward, so which one do we want to move? I'm just going to drop this one back. I'm not sure if that was the right rook or not. It could have been the other one. Okay. I'm going to shuffle the king to this side now. Let's go here. Now I'm stopping the rook coming back here. So let's just edge forward, trying to threaten to push on. I'm going to go here and prepare a push as well. Actually, let's go here and try and get the bishop on the diagonal. Well, he's offering a draw. That's poor. He shouldn't offer a draw there. Let's check. So now it cuts out this square. So obviously we don't want to blunder stalemate. But here is a threat, right? If he checks, I can take. We're threatening checkmate, I think. So he takes. So is that checkmate anywhere? No, he's got a square. So let's just take back. Check. Yeah. Rook down. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not blundering a stalemate, and I'm playing that quick enough that I can convert. I see there is a mate threat there. So that should be checkmate. We get there. Excellent, very good. Actually, I'll put that one through the analyzer as well, so don't forget. Pause so I don't accidentally start another game. Request a computer analysis. So we have blundered in this game, so the accuracy figures will be going down. H takes g5 is a blunder. Oh, so I should have played the rook check there. Oh, of course. And then the king goes across and it's checkmate, so it was probably a mate in two. I just didn't take the time to figure that out. So you've got that there. So I'd set it up nicely. I just didn't take the time to play it through. Apart from that, oh, there is another blunder somewhere else. It says, oh, very early in the game. So c5 is a blunder, and I should have played e5 instead of d5. Obviously, it gives a long line there. You can take your time and play through all of these, but we're going to be breaking through there. So again, a little bit sloppy in the opening, not take my time. I'll play through that properly later on. Otherwise, a good win, 92% versus 88%, but you can see we're better for pretty much the whole game, so very good.